You can find me at my best when I'm naked, when I'm lying by the pool getting faded. See, I used to give a fuck, now I'm jaded. I'm allergic to the bullshit. Allergic to the bullshit. Orange soda, Deepak Chopra.
So I just put on the Roche Posay sunscreen, and it is the mattifying one, and I noticed it helped with my foundation a little bit. My nose actually didn't really get oily throughout the day, so I think I'm just gonna skip primer and then go right into foundation. And of course I'm using the Rare Beauty. This one is in 210 neutral. I am a neutral undertone, and I think this is the closest one that I can find and match my skin tone with. Yeah, and I also put my hair in a bun today. Not really the best bun, but you know, does the job. I think it does have a pretty decent amount of coverage, so I'm not going to use too much. Is this already too much? Okay, maybe a little bit more. But we still have concealer later, so... Okay. And I'm using my dirty Juno Sponge. I actually had the super sponge as well, but I didn't like that one at all because my skin is not perfect, so it just didn't look that good on me. I'm sure if you do have perfect skin, you can use any sponge. It's just that I find the super sponge a little bit harder to use when you do have bigger pores, because I do have enlarged pores around my nose area, so that's why I found it a little bit difficult to use. But this one, this is the Juno Sponge. Is it the Juno Sponge? Am I remembering this right? Should be. It is actually pretty good. It does cover up all my pores. Works pretty well. And honestly, I don't really mind if it absorbs a lot of product or not. If it does the job, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use it. The only reason why I'm not using the Beauty Blender is because it's $28, and I feel like it's just a bit expensive for a sponge. So I really like the Real Technique one, and also this one right here. I now mostly like to use a bit of foundation just to lay out a base. So I also don't put foundation around my eye area anymore because I just want to put a thin layer of product there so it doesn't really crease underneath my eyes, because the more product I put on there, the more it creases. So I actually just tried to avoid my under eye bag area, which now looks even more crazier. And I'm going to use their concealer as well. This one is in 200C. I think at the beginning it does grab onto a lot of product, so I just like to put it a little bit back and then just dab some on the areas that I feel like I need help with. On my nose, I always like a little bit more coverage on my nose because of my pores around these areas, because it's red. Over here. And this area right here, because I got a little bit of blemish right there. But that is basically it. Sometimes I actually just do wear this concealer out without even any powder. I think it works pretty good on my skin, so I've actually been using the concealer the most. I'm gonna quickly blend that in. I'm not sure if this is a sunspot or what it is, but I just got a little dot right here now on my nose, which I thought was an enlarged pore back then, but it was just some dark spot I think that I got. I don't know how I got it, but it's just there now. Okay, that's blended out. And before I put any powder on, I want to put on the blush. This one is in Grace, so I'm just gonna take that. Whoa, okay. They always grab onto a lot of product, which I like, but I don't really use that much because I feel like for blush, I'm gonna mess it up for sure. So I just really need to take a bit off in here. It is super, super easy to blend out. I think I already put too much. I'm just gonna use my sponge. I used this a couple of times already, but for some reason I still have a really heavy hand. Also, I'm using the Juno Sponge too, the tiny one, and then I always just dab it off. It's nothing new. There's actually still quite an amount of powder on there because of these little like fibers, this fiber coat, and then I just like to press it in. All right, so now to my face. I've been loving this Kaleidoscope contour palette. This is the Warm and Medium Charisma contour palette. Yeah, so I love how this is just my shade. I don't need to buy a whole freaking palette with 2 other shades that I don't use at all. I feel like it's a waste of money. So I think this shade right here is actually perfect for contouring, because contouring is actually just a shadow. It shouldn't have any other color in there. So yeah. I normally don't really use the fill color, but maybe on days when I feel fancy and I do really want to highlight my face, I normally just dip into these 2 right here. So I think I'm gonna use the chisel one first for around my face. So for my forehead, I mostly just like to warm it up a little bit. A little bit does go a long way, so okay, maybe it's too much, but probably tone it down later. It's a lot. So now to my eyebrows. I like to use 2 products these days. This one I like to use for the front of my eyebrows just to draw some strokes. This one is super thin. This one is the Urban Decay Brow Beater, and I use the shade Dark Drapes. And then for filling in these parts right here, I like to use the Brow Wiz. This one is medium brown. This part is a little bit dark, so I'm just going to try to brush it out with a spoolie, because I always just have to find a way to mess it up. But this side looks pretty good, so I have a lighter hand. Okay, still not the best brows, but this is the best I can do. So now I'm gonna prime my eyes. I used to put on concealer, but I know concealer actually doesn't stop the oils from coming through, so it does ruin your eyeshadow still. So I need to use an eye primer. I'm using the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I'm just gonna put a little bit on there. I've never used this product before, but okay, let me just blink it out. So for my eyes, I'm going to use the Morphe Madison Beer palette. I just think the shadows here are pretty good. I think it's just great for everyday use, so that's why I picked this palette up. Because sometimes looking at a palette, I just know there's going to be 2 full rows of colors I'm not going to use. Maybe I just like that one shade and I buy a palette, and then I end up just wasting my money and the whole palette. So yeah, I think this one, I think I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to dip into the shade Jericho first. I think this is a pretty good contour shade for your eyes as well. So I've been using this color quite often just for really simple makeup looks. And then whatever is left on the brush, I just like to push it up because there's not a lot of product anyways. And then now I'm gonna dip into this purple shimmery shade right here called Pixie. And I think this is my favorite shade in the entire palette. Just right till where my crease is. Yeah, and I'm doing just till right here because I want to put a darker shade right there. And then dip into this shade right here called Cosmos. I'm just gonna put it on the outer edge. I don't want to push it out too much yet because I know when I blend it's gonna be pushed out a little bit more, so I just want to put it right there and then blend it out a little bit, ever so slightly later on. Using a tiny blending brush. I don't think I'm going to blend the outer edge right here because if I do, it's only going to go down. So I'm just going to blend out these top parts right here. Oh, gosh, Do you see how glurry this is? How to make this like easier for you guys to see. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that purple at the front of my eyes. And then I'm gonna use the shade Banana for my lower lash line. It's actually quite a natural color. And then I kind of want to darken my outer edges right here, so I'm going to use this shade right here called Bambi. I'm going to use a flat brush because I can be more precise. I'm just going to put it closest to my lash line. And then whatever is left on my brush, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit at the bottom part right here. So next up is lashes. I already curled and primed my lashes. The reason why is that this product right here actually doesn't help me keep my curls up all day. I tried it without anything before, just curled my lashes, and then after I put this on, my lashes immediately just drooped down. I feel like this is a pretty heavy product, so that's why I like to use a really strong primer underneath to keep my lashes stay curled all day. But besides that, this is actually really, really nice mascara. I've always actually really liked her mascaras, and this one too. And also I noticed this bottle is actually quite big for some reason. So yeah, I feel like I am getting my money's worth out of this one. It does have a flat side right here, so you can put a lot of product on your lashes, and then a thinner side right here, so you can really comb the product out and give you length. I've been using this mascara quite a bit because just look how big my lashes got. They look pretty thick, and also the length is there too. And yeah, I've been using this quite often. Also, I'm going to use this on my lower lash line. I'm just going to blend out the edge a little bit more because I think it wasn't diffused enough. So alright, last thing is the lips. I've been really loving a natural flush look, so I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the lip stain in Dusty Rose. I don't like to put it on my entire lip. I just like to have a little bit here. And before it dries, I like to just spread it out. So because I still want my lips to look a little bit bigger, I go on the outer edge right here, and then let it stain a little bit out here to make it look like my lip is actually bigger. Okay, now you can see my hair a little bit better, and I do have these crazy flyaways all the time, so I got this thing, and then I just kind of smooth it over, but I can't really do them in all the parts, so I just try to smooth it on places where I think it's okay. But look at this chunk right here. So I actually got a bunch of these. I think there's 100 of these butterfly clips right here. So I'm just gonna clip them on places where I think I need some help. I want to pick out the colors I like first. Yeah, I want to just use more. So I end up with the full head of just butterfly clips, which I don't mind at all because that's actually a pretty cute look, I think. So yeah, this is what I do to keep my hair looking less messy than it is, because I don't know why, I'm just not really talented in tying buns, and also I have really stick straight hair. So if the hairs, those baby hairs do come out on the side, it's just stick straight, which is really annoying. So that is what I do to keep my hair, little hairs in place.